we thought that putting in ratings would actually focus the mind of management or whoever, right? Unfortunately, it seems to detract from the learning message, if you like.
It focused the mind very much onto the number.
Yes, exactly. So it's a case of, did I get an A or did I get a C? And everybody then starts to focus on how to make the C a B or a B plus, rather than what lessons are emerging from it. And we're having this interesting debate in our board where, for instance, projects are rated on a 4-point scale. Country strategy and program evaluations and thematic evaluations in sector are rated on a 6-point scale. And we've reached a deadlock in a sense, because the board is saying we do not like this moderately satisfactory or moderately unsatisfactory terminology of yours. We don't like this gradation or the gray area. We'd like to know the black and white. Is it satisfactory or is it not? Please tell us in as many words. And us going back and saying, well, they did, the program achieved parts of it and parts it did not, and therefore it is moderately satisfactory or unsatisfactory. My fear is that if we go to a 4-point scale, the focusing of the mind, as you rightly said, will then be on not the learning, but really the moving of the scale. What should we do in situations like this?
Yeah, so this is a long history, this rating thing. And so I've worked about half of my professional life in institutions that rate and half that don't rate. And so there are some advocates that say, like, as soon as you take the rating away, this problem will go away. I can assure you it doesn't, unless you start using language that does not indicate whether something worked or it didn't work. So then you eliminate the entire evaluative content, and then you don't have the argument anymore. So to me, it's not a matter of taking away the rating scale. The second thing is that when I started at the Asian Development Bank in '95 in the evaluation office, we had a 3-point rating scale. And guess what?
Everybody went to the middle.
Exactly. And so then we went to the 4-point scale. At a certain point, we were on a 6-point scale, then took it back to the 4-point scale. Here in IEG, we have a 6-point scale for the project evaluations. And in this report that I mentioned earlier, the results and performance report, we are going to actually, in this coming year, look at a more differentiated perspective. And not only they're above the line, this is how we report at the moment, you know, X% is above the line. Right. But already in the last year's report, we've looked at it to a certain degree, but we want to do a deeper dive into it. It looks like over time, there has been much more of a concentration around the middle, meaning instead of fully satisfactory or highly satisfactory, we are seeing more and more as partially satisfactory or marginally, moderately satisfactory, right? And so if that is the trend, then it is really important to have that nuance to say, like, well, wait a second, yes, you're making it above the line, but you're actually not very high above the line, right? And so that's why we think it's important to have that nuance.
That nuance, yeah. No, I think so, and I think we all seem to converge on the nuancing part, because in every program, no matter how good or bad it is, there's always the good side and the challenging side and so on. And we need to be, as good evaluators, report on both. And if we make this black and white, my feeling is that it will not just detract from the messaging, but also evaluators will feel like they have to give a benefit of the doubt in a sense. And so things that would have been moderately unsatisfactory will probably end up in the satisfactory column, and therefore mislead both the board as well as some of the other readers.
That is one thing that could happen, or what could happen is that you have things that are highly satisfactory and things that are moderately satisfactory, and they get lumped together. And for staff who are working really hard to do something exceptional, that will be very frustrating.
Yeah. And you're right, I fully agree. I don't know how we can convince our own board, but we'll give it another shot. We're trying hard to, because many of these issues, there are lots of interesting lessons that come out, and we're at this point stepping back to see how we can strengthen our own country strategy and program evaluations. And many of these are emerging from there.